So one thing, I just want to kind of gaze into a crystal ball with you. You, as you said, you've seen the last 3 downturns. When you are entering a downturn, are the signs the same, or is each one different? Because this is something I think a lot of people in this room, we only know, especially in Japan, the Japanese tech scene right now, most people only know this current kind of good period. And we don't really know what it's like to go into a down period. Does it happen so suddenly? Like, are there signs for it?
Okay, let me explain to you why you should not focus on the whole downturn and the bubble and stuff, and focus on the long term. So when the steam engine was invented, for about 40 to 50 years, it was very static. It didn't go anywhere. It did functions which were like pump out, water from mines and stuff like that, run the looms in some places. It was a very functional, device in many ways. Like, then somebody had a bright idea. Well, what if we put the steam engine on wheels and see what happens? Well, the massive scale industrialization happened. The society changed, behaviors changed, food habits changed, even war changed, right? Now, we have had the same thing happen to us. We had the steam engine, which was the microprocessor, which was always very static. It was in one place, right? And since then, we've added mobility to it. Like, we've added wireless connections to it. So the computer which used to sit in the house or in the office now sits in our pocket, on our wrist, and in our car, and it's pretty much everywhere. So the shift is exactly the same. You're starting to see behaviors change. People see Uber and they see, oh, it's like a taxi. No, it's not like a taxi. It's like a company which is about calling up a car service when you need it. It's changing behavior. It's changing our relationship with cars and transportation. You look at a company like Munchery, it's changing the idea of a restaurant, right? I think you have to start thinking about the world from that. Just like the industrialization, when it happened in the 1700s, changed the society for next 250 years, we are entered that same phase. Just like back, we had the railway bubble and we had all sorts of bubbles and whatnot. But the cycle was continuous, right? And that's what I'm saying is that this is going to be a long shift, right? It's not going to be 2 years or 3 years. Valuations may come and go down. If you're building things of value, they will exist for a long time. I think that's what people need to focus on. I think all this talk about unicorns and valuations and bubble, it distracts from the fact that we are going through a massive, massive tech transition. And that transition is just getting started. Like, the old companies haven't even died yet, right? Like, people like, Avis buy Zipcar to prevent the, stuff to happen to them, but we don't know. They didn't prevent, Uber was not, invented way after, like, the Zipcar happened. So I think things are in, like, flux, and they're changing, and changing very profoundly. I think that's the core message, whether it's in Japan, whether it's in America, whether it's in India. You look at the scale with which things grow now, think that there is a huge amount of change happening. Focus on that. Focus on building things which people want. People, whether they entertain people, whether they solve a problem, they make some service easier. Those are the things which will last. I don't think there's no upside in spending your energy on trying to focus on valuations and all this bubble talk. That just is like spectacle of technology. And it's a way to fill a lot of blog pages. It's like cable TV, cable talk shows, except way worse.